We can all think of some corporations which we despise more than others. The reasons are numerous and varied. Perhaps we've heard horror stories about how workers are treated. Maybe they use production methods that damage the environment, or they make products that fail easily and must be replaced quickly. But why do corporations engage in what we consider unethical actions, and why do others appear more unethical than others? This video seeks to address those questions. First, let's put the decisions of individuals as a reason aside. I'll explain why later. Let's understand that the duty of a corporation, a publicly traded corporation, such as one on the NASDAQ or otherwise, is serving its shareholders, its investors. This normally means maximizing the shareholder value, which normally involves maximizing profit. Recently, there have been some variations on this, but this is the case in the vast majority of situations. Much of what I'll discuss will also apply to businesses that are not publicly traded, say if they're owned by a single person, but there can be more deviations there. Anyway, it is important to remember that for corporations, every single decision is being made through the lens of profit maximization. Whether a human being sees it as ethical or not, the corporation is a robot without morality. So if a corporation treats its employees well, it's for greater profit. If it treats its employees badly, it's also for greater profit. If it treats the environment well, it's for greater profit. If it treats it poorly, it's for greater profit. There is no need for any consistent morality, unless, of course, it exists to serve the goal of greater profit. If a corporation pays its employees high wages and offers them good benefits and freedoms, it's because the type of talent that is needed is in short supply and or they're difficult to train. If wages, benefits, and freedoms are low, the opposite is likely true. If the type of customers they serve are socially and environmentally aware, they are more likely to develop their image by donating to environmental or social causes, and are less likely to commit certain abuses, as doing so would hurt their bottom line, as their customers are less likely to buy for them. If customers are not socially and or environmentally aware, they will not commit to such an image. If it's difficult for customers to change brands and or the product is a necessity, they're more likely to sell at a lower quality, higher prices, and more likely to neglect a positive image at all. If the opposite is true, the opposite response will be true. It is through all these incentives and disincentives, all directly affecting profit, that corporations make their decisions. These all intertwine and interact, and managing this all is key to corporate leadership. It's important to remember, again, that all these acts, both evil and good, are insincere. This is why a corporation that is environmentally friendly on its face to show its customers might commit terrible acts if the sight is unseen. But hypocrisy itself can be a risk to the brand if found out, and could harm profit in the end. Assuming no consumer response, however, unethical acts are almost always cheaper, hence a bias towards committing such acts. But again, it all depends on incentives. Incentives can lead corporations to abandoning some unethical practices in order to expand their customer base, or picking up unethical practices if they can be insulated from consumer or employee, more on that soon, responses. This is all further complicated by the fact that one corporation will have to interact with others, so ethics calculations can change. Perhaps one supplier is cheaper than others, but the cheaper one has ethical problems that might trickle back to consumers. Perhaps a supplier will need to change practices to sell to a corporation with certain images, or perhaps they can invest more in concealing their unethical acts. Corporations are also customers, and even, in a sense, employees. Now, to speak of employees. Earlier I had said corporations are robots, but the problem is that the processors that these robots operate on are not. They are people with their own desires, biases, and blinders. They are not profit maximization machines. You might be able to compromise some of their morality down to cold rationalism by increasing their pay or putting their employment at risk. But even then, people are emotional beings acting at least partially on their own morality. And they operate using imperfect information. They can't exactly know how much a scandal will cost, or how much productivity will be affected by friendly or unfriendly working conditions. So at times, they will be friendlier than profit is served, or they'll be harsher than what's good for morale. But the software, if you will, of the corporate computer remains the same, and decisions will shadow its ideal parameters. And if the hardware doesn't line up, the machine will replace them as soon as it's profitable. A decision that is also subject to human accuracy. Come to think of it, that would be a good segue into which industries we can sooner expect to see automation of management in. But let's leave that for another video. If you found this video interesting, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.